Hello folks, decided to get in front of the camera to do this climate change rant because we got a major climate crisis going on and society is woefully unaware of just how serious the situation is. I think that the society has sunk to a complete low at this point. Um, the climate is changing very rapidly. I don't want to make this rant without getting too angry and upset, even though I probably will. I'm going to try really not to. Uh, because it's important to remain calm when you're making video. It just makes it look more professional. But we have a serious climate emergency going on in this world right now. People don't seem to notice or care that we're experiencing warm, humid weather and severe thunderstorms in April. Something that we've never seen before. And this is all due to climate change. This is due to the jet stream, which is the force that steers our weather being affected by the difference between the poles and the equator. The Arctic is warming very rapidly, so as a result, there's less of a difference in temperature between the poles and the equator. And the lower that difference is, the more wavy and diffuse the jet stream becomes. And so the jet stream forms all these kinds of crazy patterns and brings up air mass from the deep tropics in the middle of April to the northeast. And that's why we saw the weather we saw earlier this morning and yesterday. This is more of what we can expect due to climate change. This is a serious issue. And the snobs, and yeah, I'm going to call them the snobs because it's the easiest word to say, are blissfully unaware of how bad it is, and what makes them snobs is they continue to intimidate people who are trying to speak up about climate change. The corporate elites on both sides of the aisle, whether it be Trump, Jared Kushner, or Cuomo, they're all looking out for Wall Street and the finance, industry, the banking industry. They have not done anything about climate change, and this group of people continues to ridicule, harass, and demean people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's getting the same kind of intimidation and harassment. When I see what's happened to her, what people like to say about her is the same kind of things the haters like to say about me. Because we're speaking up against Wall Street. All right? And she knows what's going on. She knows Wall Street is out of control, that the government, many elected officials on both sides of the aisle, are corporate. They're looking out for Wall Street. They're looking out for the finance sector. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the planet. And that's why they're so against this Green New Deal that she's proposing. I support the Green New Deal. We need to do something very radical to fix this. And people don't realize, people get behind the wheel of their luxury cars and their huge SUVs and their pickup trucks. And they don't realize that every time they take a drive in that thing, it is causing huge amounts of greenhouse gas to be put into the air, which warms the planet, and they don't realize that. And any vehicle, even a regular car, uses gas, burns gas, and puts greenhouse gas into the air. The problem is the combustion engine. The combustion engine is something that we shouldn't have anymore in this world. All right, we shouldn't be using combustion engines to drive around anymore. All right, but yet here we are because our government has been bought and paid for by the oil companies. Again, they're tied in with Wall Street and the banks, and they don't care that the climate is changing. They only care about the profits they're making. And this again is on both sides of the aisle. You have all these people spewing their mouth about climate change. Some of these people is like, oh, we got to do what's good for the environment. Let's ban plastic bags. Let's ban balloons being released. And those are all good things and all. I mean, they're bad for the environment. But here's the thing. The worst thing is the combustion engine. The worst thing is greenhouse gas. And nobody's doing anything about it. How do you reduce greenhouse gases? Why isn't the state doing something radical about that? Cuomo likes to say, I'm for the environment. Why haven't you restored the funding to the bus system so less people drive and take the buses instead? They don't do that. You know, you look at the nice bus and you look at all the Long Island. We have more traffic than ever, more people living here, and yet they take away mass transit. How stupid is that? And yeah, they're restoring a little mass transit here and there, but it's the network keeps getting cut back. The network needs to be increased to a level that we've never seen before. We need to have Queens, New York City style public transit on Long Island. Because as long as people are driving around all over the place and spewing greenhouse gases into the air, we're going to keep warming this planet. And we've got to do something about that, all right? And that's why we need to support Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's new Green New Deal, because it's going to bring mass transit to every part of this country, which is what we need right now. All right, we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, right? And when it comes to electricity generation, we shouldn't be burning fossil fuels to get that electricity. We can put solar panels on every building, and we wouldn't need to be burning any fossil fuels probably for energy. All right, so why aren't we doing that? Again, it's the corruption. It's the corruption between the banks, Wall Street, the finance sector. These people are scum. All right? And they don't care that they're destroying the planet. They only care about their own kind. So while they're living it on the South Shore, getting the best train stations, all their investment, all the businesses going to their towns, being waited on literally hand and foot by every elected official, while the more working class parts of the island get all the problems, they're blissfully unaware that climate change is going to affect them too. It's going to affect everybody. There really is not an escape from climate change. And we are in a real serious crisis here with our climate. And now they're saying, you know, sea levels are going to start rising rapidly, actually, because the ice is melting, not just in the Arctic, but in Antarctica. And it's possible within 20 years, we may see 5 feet of sea level rise. We could see up to 20 feet of sea level rise. People understand it reaches a tipping point, and then once you thaw permafrost out, which is what's going on in the Arctic, that's going to release methane, which is a very much more potent greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, and that's going to cause rapid warming. You're going to have several feedback cycles that are going to be started. The release of methane, as well as having less ice, means more sunlight is absorbed, which warms things more, which melts more ice. So you have these glaciers that are going to be falling into the ocean, rising sea levels, and this is going to really impact the South Shore. And South Shore is also going to get the brunt of increased tropical activity, hurricanes, and we could see hurricanes, the type of hurricanes we've never seen here before. Cat 4s, Cat 5s, possible, and the East Coast could become very tropical and stormy, and it may get to the point where humanity may not even be able to survive here anymore, because not just because of the humidity, but because of the storms. Constant. Imagine getting a hurricane every year. Imagine getting a Category 4 hurricane every year. That could very well happen, and it could make life here impossible because of the destruction it would cause. There's going to be mass migrations of people. But people are blissfully unaware. Wall Street only cares about their profits. They only care about their money. They continue to drive around in their fancy cars, blissfully unaware of what's going on. They are in their own enclave. They're so arrogant, so selfish, so ignorant, and so vain that they don't realize just how bad of a situation we're in and how they are going to get affected too. Wall Street itself will be put underwater due to climate change. Most of Lower Manhattan will be, probably within the next 20 to 30 years. Of course, they'll come up with an explanation. Oh, well, just build the seawall. We'll build our way out of it. You're not building your way out of this, all right? We have messed with Mother Nature in a way that has caused us great harm to the planet. And getting out of it is going to be very difficult. Even if we stopped emitting all the greenhouse gases right now, the effects are still ongoing. We're still going to probably see 2, maybe 3 more degrees, even if we stop today, 2 to 3 more degrees of warming in the whole planet, which is going to be catastrophic. And the only really ways to stop this is to mimic large volcano eruptions or to trigger a large volcano eruption enough to throw enough dust into the stratosphere to reduce the sunlight reaching the surface to cool the planet down. That really may be the only way that we can do that, to cool things down, to stop this. But there's no urgency from the media. They don't talk about this. They don't talk about this crazy weather being linked to climate change at all. They don't bring it up. They don't talk about it. And then we get to our president, our piece of garbage president, Trump. All right, the guy he's got a lot of regulations that were put in place. Carbon emissions are reaching all-time highs in this country thanks to him. All right, and the UN needs to declare a climate emergency. All right, and the global climate emergency, and in a global climate emergency, any government that refuses to stop emitting fossil fuels, the UN will step in and remove that government. Now, I know that's a very controversial thing to say, but at this point, humanity is at the brink of disaster. And when it comes to as far as our president is concerned, I think he needs to be removed from office by the UN or by some agency, because he is causing so much problems right now. He's trying to get another pipeline built against the will of the people. The guy is a freaking fascist, all right? And he needs to be out. He needs to be out today. But we know that's not going to happen. We're going to have to wait until the next election. And the Democrats better not screw this one up. You don't put another corporate hack like Hillary in. You've got to put somebody in there that's going to be looking out for the people, all right? The only reason Trump won is because they put Hillary in there, all right? And yeah, I voted for Trump because I couldn't stand Hillary, and Trump said he was going to enforce the laws. Well, we don't see the laws enforced. In fact, the inequality and the dumping of the illegals coming in, it's worse than it's ever been. All right, so Trump is full of it because you have he's an elitist, just Jared Kushner. Look at Jared Kushner, his right-hand man and all his connections to Wall Street. He's connected to Wall Street. Wall Street must fall. All right, Wall Street is destroying this planet, all right? And that may sound like a socialist to you, and that's the word they like to throw around. It's socialist to want to save the planet or something like that, which is a bunch of BS, all right? If we don't have a planet to live on, if we screw this up, right now we don't know of any other world we can live on, all right? And I just don't see what the big deal is giving up fossil fuels. So you'll have to take mass transit. So you'll have to drive an electric vehicle. So you'll have to not be able to have that big SUV with the big loud engine in it. So what? Isn't a clean environment more important? Isn't a planet that we can live on more important? But these people, they don't get it. They're in their own little world, in their own little bubble, in their own little enclave. To them, they only care about what's going on in their own neck of the woods. They don't care about the trash in the middle of the island. They're not noticing the climate's changing very rapidly across our world. And we are in a serious climate emergency. The snobs, like I said, they're blissfully unaware. They think it's not going to affect them, or they'll complain, oh, the sea level's rising, let's build bulkheads. And they'll probably try to get the politicians to come and build bulkheads and build seawalls and stuff like that. Well, the seas are just going to keep rising. It's not going to do anything. They're stupid because, again, they'd rather just be with their own kind. Sorry, there's too many brown people. There's too many working class people. We're not going to put new infrastructure in that community. You're not going to get concrete ties. You're not going to get LeGrand charging stations. You're not going to get tiles. You're not going to get new power lines. You're not going to get new businesses in your community. Just because you're not, lily white, 85+% white, area full of finance professionals like we are, with our Burberry suits and our Michael Kors bags and our preppy way of acting and all that other stuff, which is a bunch of baloney. All right, because again, the South Shore is going to be facing, of all the parts of Long Island, it is going to be the middle that is actually going to be the safest place to live in this changing climate. But the South Shore is going to be one of the worst. But they don't understand that. They don't see that because they only care about their own kind. They're stupid. They're racists. Again, that's the way they think. They only want to be with their own kind. And they have their own enclave on the South Shore that is going to suffer severely due to climate change. Babylon Village will probably be, I think, even 5 feet of sea level rise will probably put parts of Babylon Village underwater, maybe even a couple of feet. It's a very low-lying area. But they keep investing there. They keep putting the stuff there, of course. Sayville's in a similar situation. Most of these South Shore towns are. Patchogue, all these South Shore towns are going to face flooding. If it's not going to be the rising season, it's going to be our next hurricane. Sandy was not the big one. That was barely a hurricane. Now imagine a Cat 3 taking that track and taking its time. Imagine what that kind of damage is going to do. The water will go up to Sunrise Highway. All right? And it's going to flood most of those towns. But they don't think of that. No, sorry. We'd rather take our chances with that than have to mix with the rest of everybody in the middle of the island. That's just the way they think. They don't want to mix. They only want to be with their own kind. That's the problem we have. So try to keep this climate change rant calm. But people need to wake up and need to wake up soon that we are in a climate emergency. All right? Trump needs to be out. All these corporate people need to be out. Cuomo, too. All right? You see, you'll say, oh, we're progressive, and yet you're not doing enough to fix the mass transit situation. Cuomo should be providing plenty of funding so that there's mass transit in every county in this state that people can depend on. All right? He's not doing that. All right? We need to fix our public transportation system. Yeah, he's doing some good things, but it's not enough. It's not enough to get people out of their cars and onto mass transit. It's not enough. All right? Especially here on Long Island, where we've seen our bus transit lines face service reductions and nice. We know the disaster. MTA needs to be running everything on Long Island. All right, that's not what's happening. All right. Again, instead, people would rather take, because it's getting broad, take taxis, Ubers, and Lyfts. Taxis, Ubers, and Lyfts are big donors to a lot of these politicians. So, and again, that's terrible for the environment. You know, very inefficient. But again, you have a corrupt government, and in order to combat climate change, we have to take back our government from Wall Street, the banks, the finance sector. They have way too much power, they have way too much control, and they are not only ruining our lives, but they are ruining the environment. And it's both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats, you know, that are involved in this. And then you have people that call themselves conservative and yet are allowing and supporting the destruction of the environment. They're not conservative. Not to me, because a true conservative should care about conserving the planet. So that's going to be it for this video. You know, I'll try to keep it calm, hopefully, without yelling. But this is a serious problem that needs to be addressed. And think about this in the next election. All right, as far as I'm concerned, if the candidate won't make climate change a priority, they're not getting my vote. All right, we need to take a stand and demand action on the climate emergency that we're facing. Not just rebuilding mass transit and increasing mass transit, but also phasing out combustion engines. And we need to pass the Green New Deal. That needs to be done. And in order for that to happen, these corporate hacks must be out once and for all of our government. And we must take control of the government once again, the way it's supposed to be. Thank you for watching.